Welcome to hsgamecenter.com's tutorial on how to use the football statware application on your iPhone or iPad. I'm going to go over the very basics of this one, and we're going to have much more detailed instructions on certain options and features in some other videos that you guys can check out. But just to get you started, once you download the app, it's going to take you to the screen where you input your email and password. So the same email and password that you used to create an account on hsgamecenter.com, just go ahead and put that into the app, select login, and it will take you to this page. Now here I can monitor different things. I can navigate between the different options down at the bottom of the screen. So just to kind of take you around to some of the different features of the app. If I'm in the settings tab, there's nothing really here that I need other than in social media. If I select Facebook, I can log in with Facebook, and if I select Twitter, I can log in with Twitter, and that's just something that will allow you to send out updates on both Twitter and Facebook, big plays or scoring plays or end of the quarter scores and stuff. It'll automatically do that off the app. I can also click on my games, and I can make any edits to the game settings that I need. For the most part, everybody's is going to be standard high school rules here. You can turn off tracking defensive plays if you think that's going to be too difficult for you. You can change the amount of downs, the length of the fields, which could come into play for 6-man or 8-man or 9-man football. So that's pretty much all you'll need to know on the settings tab. If I come over and click on teams, any team that I have claimed onto my account, I will see them listed in a drop down right here on the app. So see, on my account I happen to have a bunch of teams, so I would be able to choose from whichever one of these teams that I wanted to manage at that moment. So right now I'm set up with the Kansas varsity team that I'm going to be using for the rest of this tutorial. I want to make sure that my season selected is 2013. Some, like this one, only has a 2013 season, whereas some might have a 2012 season if you used the app last year. So just make sure that your season is set for 2013. Now the next tab is my schedule tab, and on my schedule tab I can come in here, I can see if I have any upcoming games, I can see any games going on, or finalized games if I had some here as well. With this, on this page, in order to see what this is capable of, I can click the sync button, and that will sync down any new games that I've created on hsgamecenter.com that aren't on the app yet. So if I were to go online and create a game, I could come in here, hit the sync button, and then the games would sync up onto the app. As far as games that are already on there, I can go ahead and I can hit this green arrow, and I can make changes to those games on the app. I can come in, I can change the date and time of the game if needed. I can also go ahead and click on roster and see the team's rosters, both mine and my opponent's roster will be there listed as well. If for whatever reason my opponent didn't have a roster in there, I would also be able to add those in. I could change the game location and the type, and then all I have to do is hit save, and then that information is saved. In order to get into the game, all I have to do is click on the game, and it will take me right into the app. And I will show you some things here in a minute, some very basics of the navigation of the app, and then we will leave the more detailed of how to use the app within the game to a second tutorial. But basically, if I click back, this is going to be your schedule page. If I wanted to add a game from the schedule page, all I would need to do is just go into this plus sign, select that, and it's basically the same. I'm just going to choose a game time. I'm going to choose my team. I'll choose my opposing team. And when I choose my opposing teams, I can come in and I can search by the state, and it's going to pull up all the high schools. And I'll just go in and I'll pick a school that I am playing. So I am playing Barrow, for instance. I will select them. I will select their 2013 varsity as long as it's a varsity game, and I'm good to go. Now, for instance, if they don't have very many players and you want to add some of their players in, you can do it on the HS Game Center side by doing a bulk import or by emailing us a roster that we can easily put in there for you, or you can just click on the app and click save, and now that player is in there and he's good to go. So if I were to go back, just so you see what that looks like, I canceled out of that game, but if I wanted to save it, all I would need to do is go back through this, click on that team, and click the save button after, let's say it's a scrimmage, I click save, and now you can see that game has been added for that day. So that's pretty much how you use the schedule feature. The roster function is just going to manage your roster. So if you want to come into your players and need to make any changes, you can hit this arrow key. For instance, I could change the player to upper and lowercase. I could change his number and hit save. And you can see the changes made there. You could change the number to whatever you wanted. But basically by clicking save, that will change the player's number. So that's all you really need to do for the roster page. The settings page I already showed you. The help page, this will just give you a couple more helpful tips here, ways to get in contact with us. One good way to always do that is just email us at support@hsgamecenter.com. That's support@hsgamecenter.com. So there you have, you got the settings, the roster, which I showed you, the schedule, which is simple enough, and the teams. So let's go into a game, and I'll show you the basics of how to use and how to navigate once you're inside the game. So if I click in a game, this is basically where it's going to take me. It's going to take me to 12 minutes, first quarter, and you can see the ball is here. So at any point in time during the game, if I need to change possessions, I can easily do so by clicking side to side. If I need to change the clock, I can come in here and very easily make that change. I can also change down if needed to. I can make it third down there. So there's lots, everything is customizable. I can change what yard line the ball is on, the quarter, etc. As you add in plays, so for instance, I'm just going to add in a very generic running play. So you will see now I put in an 8-yard run. Now it's 2nd and 2 from the 48. It made the changes on its own. But the plays actually came down right here. Now you'll also see that as I put plays in, not only will they show up here, but I can also click on this plays tab, and my plays will begin to list right here. So I can navigate back to the entry screen by clicking this plus button. And I'm going to put in another run for a first down. And I'll put in one pass for a touchdown, we'll say. I'll change my clock because a change of possession occurred. It will prompt me to put in the extra point. I have a kick. It was good. I select next. So now it's 7-0. So now I can see here, I can scroll through these plays that are right here on the app. And as well as scrolling through them, I can also click this button and I can choose to send these both to Facebook or Twitter. So I could, from a user-created account, I could send something that says Kansas run by Alex Smith, number 1 for 8 yards, tackled by Shane Klein, number 2. That would actually be tweeted out on my account. So other things you can do as far as simple navigation, like I said, you can get into the plays feature, so I can see the plays come onto this list. I can also get to the stats, and I can see my scoring plays here. So this is the scoring play I just put in. I have my line score here as the scores come in. I've got my team stats, and if I keep scrolling down, I will see that I also have my individual player stats as well. From the stats page, what I can do is I can send out emails with those stats to anybody at any time. So these will just be PDFs of the statistics at that time that I can send out. I can cancel it here and delete that. But whatever is set up on your stats page, that can be emailed out. If I go back into the plays page, the cool thing is I can actually go in and edit plays. So if I select edit, I can either select this red arrow, and that gives me the option to delete a play, or if I close this red arrow, I can click on these gray arrows, and it gives me the option to move a play. So what you could conceivably do is create a play that you missed earlier in the game and slide it into the proper spot in the order if needed. And you can do that here by clicking insert, and see it takes you back to the play entry, and I can go ahead and type that play in and then come back and I would be able to do that here by clicking on the edit function. Also within the games and other things that you will be able to do at the end of quarters, you can just select end of the quarter. You'll hit yes, and see now it takes you into the second quarter with 12 minutes to go. If a timeout occurs during the game, you can select timeout. You can choose whether it was the home visitor or an official injury or official's timeout. You can put in what time that timeout was taken, and it automatically comes up. And as that happens, as you'll see here, now the time changes on the clock. Changing the time on the clock will help because as you're watching this game on the public view, this will change so that fans can follow along and know, okay, it is now 9 minutes left in the first quarter, and the reason that the stats haven't changed in 10 minutes is because there's an injury official's timeout. So just something helpful there. At the end of the second quarter, I can select end of this, end the quarter, which takes me into halftime, which will bring up on the app. It'll say, or I'm sorry, on the public view of the page, it will say the game is in halftime. When halftime ends, I can select end halftime. It will prompt me to answer that question, and now I'm into the third quarter. Once the game is over, so the fourth quarter ends, it says, are you sure you want to end the game? Your final score will be sent to the Game Center website. If that's the case, I select yes, and now everything is done. I can't go back in and change anything unless I come back and select the game over and want to reopen the game. So if I reopen the game, I can get in and enter plays, I can edit plays. All I have to do is select reopen. If you don't need to get back in there, you can just select no. Now as you see that my game was over, it was a 7-0 game. I can see my plays are listed on my play page. I can see all my stats are listed on my stat page. I can email those stats. I can reorder or edit the plays. What I'm going to do now is go back, and you'll see here listed under completed games, you will see that Kansas beat Barrow 7-0. Once that game is completed, and you just go ahead and hit this sync arrow, that information is going to send from your pad to your hsgamecenter.com account. And what that allows it to do is now all of those stats will sync up on your server, so you will have access to those accounts. And for me right now, I've got a lot of teams on my account, so it is going to take a little longer. However, if you're just linked to one team, it should be a very quick process because it's not that much data to sync from the pad or from the iPhone up to the hsgamecenter.com servers. So that is pretty much a brief overview of the basics of the app. If you want to learn how to use to enter plays, I will go over that in a separate tutorial. We'll go over the runs, passes, penalties, special teams plays, all of that in another tutorial on the Game Center usage. So if you have any other questions, you can email us at any time at support@hsgamecenter.com, and we will get back to you as soon as we possibly can. And otherwise, thanks a lot for watching this tutorial, and have a great season. Take care.